This is episode 315 of Jumble Think.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Jumble Think, where we interview dreamers, makers, innovators, and influencers all about their journey of turning their ideas and dreams into reality. Along the way, we're going to share some tips on how you can turn your own dreams and ideas into reality too. Our guest on today's show is Ray Agliata. More about Ray in a moment. Whether you're a new listener or a longtime fan, if you've never subscribed to Jumble Think, now is the time to do it. Head on over your favorite podcast app and search for Jumble Think and click subscribe. To make it even easier, if you head on over to jumblethink.com, you'll find links to places like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Pandora, and more. So go subscribe to Jumble Think and never miss an episode of the show. Now let's join today's conversation.
Hi, this is Christina Everett, executive producer of podcasts at iHeartRadio. You're about to listen to an episode recorded live at PodMax. Enjoy the show.
Hey there, welcome to Jumble Think. My name's Michael Woodward. I am your host, and we have a super fun conversation lined up for you today. Before we dive into that, we want to thank our friends over at Floxy. They are a monthly subscription to graphic design, web development, and video editing services. Super cool company. If you need any of those things for your company and you just want to build a really trusted partner, check out Floxy. And as a listener of Jumble Think, they're going to give you 10% off your first month. All you have to do is head on over to Floxy, FLOCKSY.com/JumbleThink. Now, today's show, as you heard in the intro, was recorded at PodMax. PodMax is an event that brings entrepreneurs and podcasters together so that entrepreneurs can share their story of ideas and dreams with podcasters and their audience globally. You can check them out at podmax.co. On the show today, our guest is Ray Agliata. He's a proven leader with over 20 years working in various industries in managerial positions. He's an entrepreneur through and through and has had a tremendous success building startups from scratch and growing small companies. His industry experiences vary greatly, including insurance, real estate, retail, restaurants, and field service management. Now, especially is to grow and develop a company through the implementation of systems as well as strong hands-on managerial style. He likes to fix what's broken, exploit what works, and implement what is needed in order to grow a company into successful business ventures. Currently, he's the owner of Cornerstone Property Services. Well, let's stop wasting time and start joining the conversation. Here's our chat from PodMax with Ray Agliata. All right, we are on with Ray Agliata.
There you go.
Did I get it right?
You got it right. That's the best time you said it today.
Oh, first time. I may not use your last name again. But
that's it. Right. Just stick with Ray. That's probably the best move.
We'll be back with Ray's, home of the famous pizza.
You know, that's funny that you brought that up. We ate pizza at a place recently in Hillsdale, New Jersey called Ray's. It was outstanding.
Nice.
I didn't know the people at all, but I said my name was Ray. The guy didn't get it, and we just ordered.
Yeah, like some kind of discount.
But it was good though.
Yeah. I am sitting here at PodMax in Trenton, New Jersey.
That's right.
On this balmy, warm, 20-degree day.
It's warm in here, I'll tell you that.
They're like, we need more lights. I'm like, why?
No more lights. Are we even filming this? Are we doing video today? Nah, no video today, huh? He said, no. I wish. Our engineer says, I wish. Not the way I look today, I'll tell you that.
Well, Ray, thanks so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
There's a lot to talk about. You are every time I ask another question in this pre-interview, the more I learn about your story. So let's dive into your story. You are the guy behind Cornerstone Property and Real Estate Services. You have a podcast, the Ray Agliata Show.
Very good.
I'm going to slow it down. It'll get slower each time as I
that was
insecurely say your name.
The Ray Agliata Show. That's right.
You tell us about them. Let's start there.
So with Cornerstone Property and Realty Services, what I wanted to build was something that was very investor-centric, very investor-focused.
Yeah.
So our whole idea behind Cornerstone is if you are a landlord or a property management company, we want to work for you.
Yeah.
If you're a commercial contractor or you bought a commercial space, we want to work with you. This is our market. This is our space. So that's what's really important to us. Can we work on, our neighbor's bathroom? Absolutely. Are we interested in that? No, we're interested in really working with investors, really working with people who are in that space. And that's our main focus. So we utilize that focus with some knowledge that we have to provide a really good product for our clients.
Yeah. Tell us about the podcast. What are you doing there?
So the podcast was a fun thing.
Okay.
I used to do it in my basement, and I did about 4 or 5 episodes a few years back. And then I kind of just stopped. Wow. I moved, and then, I said, you know what, eventually I'm going to do it. So I decided there was an open space here at the Hive where we are doing PodMax. And I said, let me give it a shot.
Wow.
And I've always had the bug to do it. And we don't talk about, I just put my friends on. We talk about anything I like to try to tie entrepreneurship into the podcast, but then it changes into food and hockey and baseball and whatever, and it just turns into what it turns into. But it is what it is. It's been fun. I've done 3 episodes and finally figured out this morning how to put it on Spotify.
Okay.
Today, literally, right before I walked in here, I had one of my employees, and she's like, "I know how to do that." And next thing you know, I'm like, "Wow, I'm on Spotify. I didn't even know I could do that." So I'm excited.
It's funny.
Yeah.
All right. When we say entrepreneur, you are a textbook picture of entrepreneurship. You've been down this road. Run through some of the businesses that you've started, run, and a little bit of the story behind that.
So I wasn't always an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I've always had the tendency to be an entrepreneur. Like my first job out of college, I was a cold caller at a brokerage firm.
That's like the worst job ever.
It was brutal. And I could tell you some funny stories about that. But at the end of the day, I learned a little. I had the entrepreneur bug a little bit. And then as time went on, I worked at a restaurant. I did all these different things. And I was working at a bail bond company.
Okay.
And I wanted to go out on my own. I wanted to do it. And kind of like we left on bad terms, but I was challenged. I said, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I no clue how to run a business per se. I knew how to do bail bonds. And then I turned that into what ended up growing to be one of the largest companies in the country.
Wow.
Over years. And then as time went on, a lot of states have changed their bail bond rules, New Jersey being one of them. Yeah. For better or for worse. It depends on who you talk to. If you talk
Just the reality of what you have to navigate.
Exactly. And at that point in time, what ended up happening was I said, I need to come up with something else. And I realized I had we had done some other, I had bought a Quiznos franchise, which was not good. It was brutal. I owned a security guard company with my friend Ron, who's my partner now, who we did well, and that was something that was pretty good. I tried some different things, and really, when I got into doing Cornerstone, I was the original iteration. The first time Cornerstone came around, I was doing just property preservation work, working on bank-owned houses. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. And then that company that we were working for approached me and said, hey, why don't you come in and run our depot? And I got into doing that, and I worked for a couple larger national and larger regional companies. I got into doing that and realized I really need to be an entrepreneur again.
Wow.
Once you're an entrepreneur, it's hard to work for somebody else.
It is. I know that personally for myself. And after you do it for a while, no one wants to hire you either. So
that's true. Yeah. That's true. You could say you're the president of Cornerstone Property and Realty Services. Yeah. And nobody cares. Yeah. I could send my resume out now. I don't think I'm a wealth of knowledge. Yeah. Nobody wants to hire me.
Well, and the interesting thing is that so many times people look to learned knowledge versus experienced knowledge, and they look down on the experienced knowledge, but there's a lot of value in that.
I agree. There is a lot of value in that. I didn't know how to do anything when the first time Cornerstone came around. Yeah. The bail bonds were going out of business. Yep. I had a very little knowledge in the HVAC industry, and I said, you know what, I got to come up with something. But I learned really by doing. Yeah. And then as that company got better, I got some experience going to work for some other people. When I came back to Cornerstone, I had like a plan. Yeah. And with some good partners, I have some great employees that I work with every day. It's really, we found a market. We found something that is a focus of what the company's trying to do with working on investor-owned properties. And it's been great.
Well, and they always say, the gold rush isn't in necessarily the activity, real estate investment, or although there's money to be won there and earned there, and But you look at the gold rush out in California in 1800s,
Sure.
and the money that was made by the most people were the people that provided the services to the miners.
That's very true. Sure.
And so you're doing that with what you do through Cornerstone.
And it's interesting. I was here at Real Estate Hackers on Wednesday night, and I gave a little conversation. We had a speech. We had about 25, 30 people here. And we talked about the differences between a residential contractor versus someone like my company, where we're really, really focusing on working in the investor space.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, could we make more money on a per job basis, putting in a bathroom in Princeton? Yeah, we probably could. I'm not going to lie to you. But also we found a niche that we're good at, and we're building that niche. So yeah. That's true.
And I think the interesting thing here is I talk to so many entrepreneurs, and there's two parallel stories that are told. Right. Either the person's like, oh, I was, 3 months old and I was selling lemonade on the street,
That's true, right? That's true.
And then you have those other people who kind of accidentally fall into the journey of entrepreneurship. Right. And it seems like that's a little bit more of your journey where it wasn't the plan, but you fell in love with it.
And once you're an entrepreneur, like we said, it's like you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You can't stop. You know what I mean? You're like, what else can I buy? What could I do? You know what I mean? How can I make my business, either make my business better? Is there something ancillary that I can do? And you really get into it.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's a good thing. And you're working for you. There's nobody else better to work for.
Yeah. I don't know. Some days I want to fire myself.
I thought
kind of a jerk.
I thought about that too.
And then the other times I want to fire a client.
That's true. And at the end of the day, well, I think the hardest thing what people don't understand is you have to be the hardest worker.
Yeah.
So like even if you have 20 employees, you have 50 employees, you have 2 employees, you have to be the first guy there. You're the last person to leave, and you have to figure out. A friend of mine named Dave, he owns a company. And he makes trains.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting guy. And he says...
Like model trains?
No, they're actually trains that you can sit on and drive. And he's an absolute expert at creating these trains. And I just put him on actually, he was my first podcast because he's a friend of mine. I figured if I messed it up and I didn't hit record, it's okay. He'll still keep on talking and we'll be good. Yeah. But one thing he said to me is, as an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to create money. You have to create money for payroll. You don't earn it. You have to figure out how to create it. So what do you have to do to go out there? You have to get more clients. You have to speak at events. You have to come to PodMax. You have to, in Trenton, New Jersey, you have to do these things. And as long as you you have to constantly create and be creative to find a way to grow your business, or even if you keep your business the same size, you have to feed it.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part about being an entrepreneur. And if people aren't entrepreneurs, I think it's hard for those people to understand that.
I've never heard it put in those terms, but it really makes sense what you're saying there about creating versus earning.
Yeah. I never heard it that either until we recently had a conversation about it. And he said, every week I have to think, how am I going to pay these people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to come up with that. And it's true.
Employees are the hardest part of the job most of the time. Hiring the right people, making sure that you're hitting payroll, all that kind of stuff. That's, when we scaled our business in California, that was the biggest pain point. I imagine that you've had some of those pain points in growing your business.
Sure.
Talk to us a little bit about how you went from an idea for this into really creating a concept for profitability, for being able to create that money.
At my last real job,
I
was at a company called Guardian Asset Management, and the owner there, his name is Ernie, wonderful guy. I mean, top-notch guy. And one day we sat down, he said, look, you could work here forever. Yeah. You can be in this position forever and make the same pay. Yeah. He goes, the only way you're moving up is if you own my company. And obviously I'm not going to own it, right? So he's like, let's come up and let's work together to get you where you need to be. I had been an entrepreneur. I was working for him, and I learned a lot from the guy. And I learned a lot from just being, when you need to have a mentor, everybody needs to have a mentor. They may not realize that they're your mentor, but as you watch them, like I listen to Matt Faircloth a lot. He's here in the same building as me, so I may not have a choice. But I learn a lot every day. Eric Cabral, who's doing PodMax, and he has the on-air brands. Yeah. Just by that person may not realize that they're mentoring you. Yeah. But you're learning from them. Yeah. So when I had the idea of and my idea wasn't original because other people are doing this too. I wanted to have the property maintenance company and construction company, and I wanted to work for other companies. That was my main thing. And I said, I know how to do the preservation work. We were doing some maintenance work for Slate House Group, Chad over at Slate House Group, which is another wonderful company to work for. And then we started getting into some more commercial construction. We buy houses. My partners and I own some properties in Trenton. So we kind of mixing all that together, but staying in the track. Has it been hard to make payroll some weeks? Sure, in the beginning. Yeah. It was really, really hard. Like we did high fives today. That there was money in the bank going into next week. You know what I mean? Yeah. But every week gets a little bit better, and you have to be smart about it. When I was in the bail bonds, the guys who first opened up, it's such a cash cow. Yeah. It used to be. Yeah. And the guys who had first gotten into the bail bond business, the first 3 to 6 months, they're driving like Mercedes, and then the first guy misses court. Now reality has hit. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you have to plan not only like today where you need to save your money, but you also need to say, well, what's going to happen 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now? We strategize about what our plan is for the summer. We strategize what our plan is for the fall. We're always constantly talking about, should we try this or should we not do that? The first couple of jobs we did, I was like, damn, this is pretty good. And then you realize, well, now I got to pay everybody and I have to pay the credit card off that I charge the material on. But you're building.
There are things that you know you don't know, and there are things that you don't know that you don't know. And there's a lot of learning that you've done in there. One of the things that you just mentioned there was thinking about, what do I need to plan for the summer? What do I need to plan for the fall, the winter, the spring? And for your industry, that's even more highlighted because winter in Jersey is a vastly different service need than summer in Jersey.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. Which are probably like the 2 worst times of the year to work.
Winter time in Jersey is either freezing outside and summertime is 200 degrees. Yeah. But you have to say, like, our question to ourselves this year was, we cut grass last year for our clients. Yeah. Do we want to cut grass? And the answer is yes, we want to cut grass again this year. But we looked at that. We were so happy that it hasn't snowed yet. Yeah. Because I don't want to say we were unprepared for snow, but like if we had to go shovel the snow at like 200 properties, I would have cried. You know what I mean? Because it would have been like, Lord, why do we have to do this? But so far we haven't had a snowy winter, so we're lucky. Today might be one of the colder days, actually.
Yeah, be interesting to see what March looks like.
Oh Lord, I hope not bad. My kids play spring sports. I don't want to sit out there and freeze my butt off.
We're going to move towards the end of this first segment. And the first question we always ask in this last portion of this is, how are you finding purpose in what you do?
I really like working with other people. Okay. I have found some clients that we worked for that are really trying to make a difference, whether they're buying a property in an urban area or they're flipping a property in a suburban area. I really enjoy doing that. And if I can make that property better than it was before and make that client happy, then I think that's probably my purpose. That's what I feel good about.
What is one challenge you are currently working to overcome?
I would say right now would be we have we have large volumes of work that come in all at once. And I'm a pleaser.
Yeah. So you want to say yes to everything.
And I do. Yeah. And it makes everyone in the office cry. But that's something that I'm personally working on, where I could give people, like, I'm very upfront with people, and I'll say, look, we can start this project in the beginning of April. Yeah. And like, if I lose a job, I lose a job. 99% of the time, I've noticed that the people are like, okay, started in April, whatever. You know what I mean? So that's positive. That's something that I'm working on. That's my biggest challenge right now.
What's the next big dream, idea, goal that you have?
I really believe that wealth is made through real estate. And I would like to do more with buying and owning properties. That's my personal goal.
We are going to take a break right here. And when we come back, we're going to go deeper into this conversation, talk a little bit more about business and the power of entrepreneurship. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be right back. Hey there, it's Mike. If you're like most small business owners, you may struggle with getting everything you need done in the day. And a lot of times, one of the things you're looking for is great graphic design. Maybe a new logo, flyers, brochures, business cards, even a new website or email campaign designed for you. You can't fit it into your day, so you need some help. Our friends over at Floxy are there to help you. So whether you need a new video, some graphic design, the perfect copy, or a new website, Floxy's there to help you. And as a listener of Jumblethink, they're going to give you 10% off your first month with a 14-day money-back guarantee. All you have to do is head on over to floxy.com/jumblethink. That's Floxy, FLOCKSY.com/jumblethink to get 10% off your first month. So head on over and get your perfect project completed for you. For all of us, life is looking a little bit different than what we thought it would be a week ago. Coronavirus hit, and it's impacting our lives in every possible way, from the security of our jobs to the finances that we have, and even to the structures of school and daily life and routine. It's all changed. You may be feeling a little bit of fear and anxiety about life. You may be filled with tension about knowing what's going to happen next. I want to encourage you, everything's going to be okay. It's going to be a little hard for a while, but things will get back to a new routine. And you get to look at what that looks like for you. If you're still struggling, I encourage you to go on over to jumblethink.com and check out our episode about the pandemic of fear. And be encouraged. Life's going to be okay. And now let's return to today's conversation. We're back with Ray. All right, before we get going, how can people find and connect with you?
Well, a couple different ways. Personally, we have the Ray Agliata Show, and you can go on rayagliatashow.com. All right. You can check this out. I'm on Facebook, which is new and exciting, so you can check that out as well. And you can listen to my podcast, which is really about nothing. None of the stuff that we've talked about today that's important is really on the podcast. It just is a lot of fun. And also with my company, we're Cornerstone Property and Realty Services, and we're located right here in Trenton, New Jersey, 354 South Broad Street at the Hive. And our phone number is 732-640-5518.
Awesome. And all of that will be in the episode notes, so you don't have to look far to find it, probably down below wherever you're listening. So just go look and click the magical link that takes you to new land. So go check out what Ray's doing.
Excellent.
Super cool. As we talked in this first segment about your business and your journey of entrepreneurship and how you got into it, one of the things that stood out to me is that a lot of people who aren't entrepreneurs or business owners for that matter, a lot of people who are working a typical job, they don't really think in the terms of business to business versus business to consumer.
Right.
And you're definitely a business to business. You're working with managing property, not managing properties, but managing their needs for shoveling snow, mowing grass, all of that kind of stuff.
In a bathroom, whatever.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
And so talk to us a little bit about the difference between really doing a B2B versus a B2C kind of business and what people really need to know about that.
So I personally, I'm a fan of the B2B.
Yeah.
Because it's a different type of relationship.
Okay.
It's a relationship that is, I think it's a longer, I don't want to say it's not it's a long-term relationship, but it's also where you may end up speaking to that person every day forever.
Yeah.
We have clients that we speak to constantly, and I like that relationship. Whereas I think with a consumer relationship, I think you have a different set of expectations. That's number one. Not that the other person has less of an expectation, but I just think it's a different set of expectations. And you may just do that job once. Mm-hmm. You may install their bathroom one time, using that as an example. Whereas you may have a client that has 50 bathrooms. Yeah. That he's like, look, I want to do one a month. Yeah. You know what I mean? And because I'm trying to upgrade or I'm trying to do whatever, Yeah. So that's a little bit of you have that longer term, deeper relationship with a B2B.
Yeah. And with business to business, in my experience, is that you get return business too, where sometimes with personal, you will, I want to do my kitchen now. Right. I want to go do a deck or something like that. Right. But for the sheer scale, you just don't have that in a business to consumer versus a business to business.
That's right.
Do you find that those projects are easier because you're working with other professionals? They look at it more analytically and less emotionally?
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. Very rarely will you get a client that on the B2B side, you have a lot of clients have an expectation. And that expectations, we want to use this brand white bathtub. Yeah. We want to use this type of tile. Yeah. We want to, and there's a little bit of leeway in it. We want these lights throughout the property, luminescence to whatever, right? That's what we want to use. We want all the walls to be agreeable gray. When you're working with a consumer, you may paint the walls agreeable gray, and they may say, wow, that's really light gray. Yeah. I don't like that now. Let's paint it another color. Yeah. And you're like, all right, that's fine. I think that's a difference that you have between the analytical approach, whereas I think with a regular customer, it's kind of like, I like it or I don't like it. Yeah. Whereas an analytical guy's like, we know that this is how much it costs to put in a bathroom. Yeah. This is how much it costs to do kitchen cabinets. Yeah. Like, let's get them done for that cost.
We know that not everyone's going to love your favorite shade of bright red.
That's right.
And so
that's right. And if you have to paint a red wall twice, oh Lord, you know what I mean?
You'll never want to see red again.
You'll never want to see red again. Exactly, Joe.
Part of what you do is building relationships. Because it's that business to business, you're building, in a way, residual income because you're recurring relationship through
if
that.
If you do it right.
If you do that right. And your reputation in the space hinges on referrals, which is where you get a lot of business to business business. I think I said that 20 times. Business, yeah.
But you're right, though. You're very right. You're very right with that.
For me, I look at it and I don't think a lot of people, even business owners and entrepreneurs, value the network they have because of social media today. And social media has a lot of benefits. But on the flip side, we detach the connection. And with business to business especially, there's a network that you build, and that's where you're getting referrals. That's the people you have to make happy, and it's continually growing and expanding. How do you manage your network in a digital world when so much of what you need to do happens off the paper or off the computer screen?
So I try to manage each job, and with the idea that this property investor or this management company is so busy, they don't need to worry about me. So I try to have that. I want them to be able to say, Ray, go put this kitchen in at such and such address in Trenton, New Jersey. Yeah. You know the budget, make it happen. Yeah. And then they just look at the end result and say, wow, Ray, great job. Thank you very much. And they don't even think about it. Yeah. That's what my goal is. So that develops a real deep relationship with the people that you're working with, people you're working for. And you have to, like Matt Fairclough says, being a contractor is not a hobby. And he means that he means it in two different ways. He means it in, you have to get paid. So it's not a hobby. You're not out there. But then I have to give you a product that is very, very, like it's an important product. I have to be serious about my job. Yeah. So that develops, and you have to be out there. You have to come to events like PodMax. You have to come in Trenton, New Jersey. You have to come to those things, and you have to get out there and you have to network. Like now, you and I, we're friends. We're connected. Yeah. Hopefully I'll connect with. I made a friend. I think his name was Darren. Yeah. That we were just outside today, and he's a real estate guy, and that's how you develop your network. And then if you do a good job, that person's a client for life. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that I think in business, it's your superpower. Yeah. You can have 20 guys that have the skills, but if they burn their contacts, if they don't show up to do the project, you can do the work, but like, hey, I'll get to it when I get to it, Yeah. I think we undervalue the power of network in our day and age.
I'm thinking about that more and more. And I think that you're right. I think that it's great to be on Facebook. Yeah. I posted a job on LinkedIn that got like 1,100 views, and I ended up getting a new client out of it. Wow. And I think that's great. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I didn't even know that client existed. I would have never even known those people. But now I went and did a bid on a project for them. That's great. And hopefully I'll be able to continue to do that. I would like to meet them. Yeah. It's hard. I'm going to say it's harder to say no to somebody that you know, but also if they trust you, then you've developed that relationship with them.
We talked earlier on in the first segment about your different businesses that you've started and that journey. It seems like you have a lot of different interests. How do you feed that creative process? Because, you look at a property and realty service company, And there's probably it's very limited on the creativity you can have. You got to go cut the grass.
Right.
Okay, how many different directions can I cut it? How
Right.
many, you go, how can we shovel snow better?
Sure.
How can we build a better kitchen? There are certain things that you might have some creativity in design, probably not as much as you would.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right. It depends on the client. Some clients are just like, go for it. And other clients are like, no, it's, I want, white cabinets, and, whatever color countertop. That's what we want in every property.
What can you get cheap in here?
What can you get cheap in here? And then I try to, give them my input on that. No, you're right. But the creativity wise, well, you and I share a creative outlet that we were talking about
music,
earlier.
Love music.
And guitars.
Yeah.
And you have a couple. I have a buddy of mine named Tom who lives in Wyoming who found a 1973 Guild guitar in a garage.
Pre-Fender.
Just sitting there. 73. It's an acoustic D25. Needs some help, but that's part of my creative. With my son Chase, he and I work together on buying and selling guitars, and that's something that you got to have a hobby. You got to have something to do outside of your podcasting.
Yeah. So how do you, when you work and create spaces that lack in creativity, how do you continue to feed that creativity? Because that seems to be a spark for you of like the businesses, the ideas that you're doing. So how do you keep that fresh when what you do sometimes can become monotonous?
So my number one strength and all the things I think I'm good at is the actual starting of the company.
Okay.
So, and then developing these relationships, which I find exhilarating.
Yeah.
I brought in someone who's actually operating the daily operations of my company. Her name is Kristen. She does a wonderful job. That's what she's really, really good at that. I stink at that.
We all need operations people.
You need to have a good
I need to have one.
I'm like an okay ops guy, but you need somebody who's going to be able to say no.
Yeah.
To either to employees or making your schedule.
Go back to a client and say the numbers just don't work.
Don't work, right? Exactly.
I mean, and we talked about that earlier. Yeah, we both want to make people happy. Mm-hmm. That's part of how I think that's just part of the creative process. Like we put our emotions in what we create, and so we want people to be happy because then it helps us feel like we've done what we're supposed to. But with an ops guy, they can come in and go, "You're over budget. That's outside of scope. Sorry, it's not emotional. We need to get paid for this overage."
We just had that conversation about a project that we were working on for somebody else, and she's very good at that, and I stink at that.
Yeah,
and something that I would like to change, but at the same time, we're doing a project here at the Hive. Where we built 4 new units.
I saw it back
That's
there.
pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And I feel great because the client can bring in more rental income.
Mm-hmm.
He's happy. I'm happy that he gave me the job. I hope he continues to give me jobs if he's happy with that work. To me, that was a creative thing.
Yeah.
That was cool. We were able to build these. So we built 4 boxes.
Yeah.
But man, it's a pretty cool idea. Why we built them and how we built them, I thought was a pretty cool idea. I like that. I like the sales. I like doing these kind of things. You need to have an ops person. You really, really do. And you need to have a good bids department, which we do, which Brianne is there. We have a good IT person with Amanda. And those are all the things I stink at. So if you're an entrepreneur, find people that are good at things that you're not.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, you mean we don't have to be perfect at everything?
No. The entrepreneur, you have to have that. My partner, Ron, who's my partner in this company, his name is Ron Padron. He's the best big picture. This guy has more ideas about more things. He says he's a good operations guy, but he is the best big picture guy out there. And he has 100 business ideas. He's wonderful. And you need that. Then you need somebody to run that company. You need a Kristen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I know for me, we hired project managers for our web agency. We had 2 of them. One was awesome. One was not. How do you filter through hiring well? Because that is, like, to me, one of the hardest things to figure out.
They have to believe in what you believe in.
So culture and belief.
I think so. I think that's very important. I think you have to give the employee, we have the best benefits program. And so like in the construction industry, usually they don't offer good benefits or they pay the guys $10.99. We have regular employees, W-2 employees.
Yeah.
They get medical benefits. They get access to a 401k.
Yeah.
They get paid PTO time.
Yeah.
So they have all those things. And you hope that by doing that, you bring in somebody that's really, really cares about the company.
Yeah.
And then they buy into your culture And then, hey, you know what? Some days suck. It's 100 degrees out, and you have 10 lawns to cut, and you have to clean these gutters, and that day stinks. Yeah. But you know what? You have all these great benefits for being with the company. You're making a good pay, and you're making some overtime. When you find out, now not everybody buys into that. Yeah. And you have to be able to, say goodbye when it's time to say goodbye.
I wish I would have learned that a little bit earlier. It's would have hard. Saved thousands. And
for guys
thousands
like us,
it's
very hard because, like you said, we want to. You don't want to
help them.
Yeah, some people you can't change though.
I had one guy one time who won't get into too far, but it started not showing up and being like, "I'm working from home," and blah blah blah.
Unacceptable.
And just tried to make it work and that kind of thing. Oh, I've got this thing. Do you mind if I do this? And you want to make them happy, but at some point you're just like, dude, see ya.
No, you can't do it. It's your business. Yeah. And you want that guy to be successful, but at the same time, you've created this. Yeah. It's like your child. It's like your baby.
Yeah. And it was really rough with this guy he was trying to take over the business.
No, it's terrible.
And he's like trying to undermine things, spreading poison with other people on the team. And it's like, he was checking who my business coach was. Did this guy actually say what he did? And blah, blah, blah. And it's just like,
Lord. Wrong guy.
Dude, you work for me. I don't work for you. I don't answer to you. And we built this success without you, so we can do without you.
I had a guy in the bail bonds business where he ended up going to Puerto Rico to do some skip tracing for us. And he was gone for like a couple of weeks. And we were paying the bills and we were doing everything. And then come to find out, he ends up bringing his wife on vacation with him to Puerto Rico. This guy made it like a vacation. So when we said, hey, you know what, this is the end. We're going to let this guy go. The first thing he said was, well, you're never going to be able to live without me. I said, you know what? I lived all these years without you. I'm going to try my best to continue living without you afterwards. Yeah. And some people have that sense of entitlement, and you have to work with that person. You want to have a great team, and that's what you're looking for.
We're going to wrap up this segment here, but before we do that, I'm curious. Okay. You have ideas. You're starting things all the time. Is there a secret little project that you're working on?
Right now, it's the podcasting.
Okay.
That's my big thing. I could speak to you all day. Uh-huh. I love this stuff. It's great. I'm excited that we actually put the thing on Spotify this morning, and that I have a 21-year-old employee who really knows how to do all of that stuff. Who knew, right? And she was awesome at doing it. And that's my project right now. I want to do a couple interviews a week. I want to get better at that interviewing. I want to actually kind of focus my show a little bit. Uh-huh. And to me, it's a great outlet. Like I'm almost therapeutic.
Well, we're going to take a break right here, and when we come back, it's the dreaded rapid-fire questions.
Go slow.
Hey there, it's Mike, and I know that there's a lot of chaos going on in the world today. You might be afraid of the coronavirus in your health, or how it's going to impact the economy or your job. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of the unknown that you may be facing. I want to challenge you today. With all that fear, with all that unknown, there is a lot you can't control. There's a lot you simply can't do. But there is a lot you can do. You may have a dream, an idea, a concept that you've been dreaming about to do for one day. Well, maybe take the coronavirus and use it as a catalyst to spark a better future for yourself. Maybe start that book. Start the podcast that you've always wanted to start. Start putting the business plan together for your business, or start doing the research so that you can actually be prepared to launch into that new career. Right now is an opportunity, and you can turn that opportunity into a future that is bright and hopeful. One of the best things you can do to find hope and to find support is to join a community of people who can support you. And that's what we're doing here at JumbleThink. We recently launched the JumbleThink Facebook group. It's a place where idea makers and dreamers can come together to share their ideas, their struggles, their successes, and to brainstorm together on how to make those dreams and ideas into reality. So I want to encourage you today to have hope, to have excitement for the future, because the future is going to be amazing. And if you're ready to take that leap, to start those dreams, come on over to Facebook, search for the JumbleThink Facebook, and let's connect. Let's start dreaming together, and let's start preparing for a better future. And now let's jump into rapid fire questions.
Mettre l'aiguille sur le disque. Mettez le contact, reposez votre bras et attendez. Restez calme pendant un moment.
We are back with Ray. All right. It's rapid fire questions.
Oh boy, go slow. I'm old.
As a child, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Probably a school teacher or a police officer.
What is one tip you'd give someone with a big idea or dream and they don't know where to start?
You don't need money. You don't need anything. Just go for it.
What is one change you would like to see in the world?
Everybody take responsibility for their own actions.
What do you want your legacy to be?
So I was a good father.
Where do you find inspiration?
From the people around me, like Matt and Eric and guys that are actually doing it.
What is one book you think every dreamer should read?
I have an English degree.
Okay.
And I read a little bit of everything. But I've never really read, besides Think and Grow Rich, I don't think I've ever read a business book.
Okay.
Maybe I should.
Just depends on what you want to get out of it, I guess.
Exactly.
For you, how do you define success?
By being consistent.
What is one trend you are currently excited about?
Real estate ownership.
What is one habit that is helpful in your life?
I do yoga every morning.
What is one thing you wish you would have known when you first started out?
To not be afraid to take a chance.
If you weren't doing what you're doing today, what do you think you'd be doing?
I would probably be a school teacher.
And our final rapid fire questions. These weren't hard.
No, I was sweating these before.
Our final rapid fire question is one dream you still want to fulfill in your own life?
I want to travel more.
Nice.
Anywhere. Really? Or where would you like to go?
I would say my hot spots to go. Hot spot's probably not the best word for this. I was going to say Australia with the fires. Probably not the best word.
Right.
I'd love to go to Australia. I've been to Asia a bunch, so I'd love to do
cool.
Europe. So, yeah.
That's cool. I'd like to go to Italy again because I saw a family in Italy, and I'm a big F1 racing fan.
Yeah.
I like to go see some of those tracks and travel around the world and check that out.
Watch NASCAR at all?
I don't watch NASCAR too much, like open wheel. I don't know. I got into it by watching a TV show that is back on again tonight, which I'm so excited about. Drive to Survive on Netflix. It sounds crazy, but it got me really into F1 racing, and now I'm hooked. F1 racing and baseball. Those are my two things.
I'm into like the Pro-Am stuff with the Porsches and BMWs. And
that's cool.
That's cool stuff. We have Kelly Earnhardt coming on the show here. She
really
is Dale Earnhardt's daughter. They have a NASCAR open wheel series that she has a car in too.
That's cool. She's going to be on your show.
Yep.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Recording that in 2 weeks. So all of you listening, it's coming. Or maybe it's already been here, but
depends on when you release this episode. You might release it tonight. You might release it next week.
Who knows when this will happen. But
exactly.
As we wrap up today's show, what's your final thought for all of us listening today?
Whatever your business idea is, or be an entrepreneur, just do it. Just focus on, don't let anything stop you, whether it's watching a TV show or something with your family. So be dedicated to being an entrepreneur.
Ray, thanks so much for joining us here at PodMax in beautiful
Trenton, New Jersey.
Trenton, New Jersey.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Once again, we want to thank today's guest, Ray Agliata, for taking time out to be on the show. Super fun to chat with him. You can check out his links in the episode notes. We also want to thank our friends over at PodMax for hosting today's conversation. We love what they're creating, and I think you will too. Check them out at podmax.co. And finally, we'd like to thank our friends over at Floxy for sponsoring today's show. If you need graphic design, web development, video editing, and more, they can help you at a monthly subscription to those services. They're doing great stuff. I think you're going to love them. I know I do. Check them out at Floxy, FLOCKSY.com/JumbleThink. And as a listener of JumbleThink, they're going to give you 10% off your first month. And now for my final thought. There is a lot of craziness going on in the world around us. A lot of it warranted, a lot of it filled with fear and the unknown. But it's a great time to step back and really reflect. Reflect on what matters to you. Spend some time with the people you love. Spend some time actually exploring the dreams and ideas you've been putting off for one day. Right now is an opportunity. You can look at it as a tragedy, which there's a lot of sadness and hopelessness going around, but turn that into possibilities. Figure out ways to unlock potential opportunities, potential for a new future, potential for the dreams and ideas inside of you to actually become reality. Right now is the best time to explore those because we're all stuck at home. We're all just kind of plugging away, trying to figure this out. Well, take that time of worry and turn it into a time to create a plan. We've got some great things working for our future, things we're working on to create, and we're looking forward to share those with you. And I'd love to hear what you're creating during the coronavirus outbreak of 2022. Now it's your turn. Thank you so much for tuning in. Get out there. Well, all right, stay in and dream big and change the world around you.
Vous êtes une autre personne. Les mères de famille, les enfants peuvent également prendre un moment revitalisant dans quelques mois, lorsque vous aurez bien saisi la technique et que vous serez maître de votre corps, vous pourrez vous décontracter même en travaillant.